Hey, this is Robert, and thank you so much for tuning into Station Square. We have a returning guest in the corner. We have Robyn Newton, who I can't remember. When was the last time we actually kind of spoke?
I think it was nearly a year ago.
Boy, time just flies so much. But anyways, thank you so much for returning once again on Station Square.
You're welcome. It's great to be here and to see you again.
Yep, anytime. So I guess you want to talk about what you've been mainly up to and how it's 2025 going. Just kick us off with that little icebreaker thing.
Sure, yeah, happily. So I think the thing that's kept me the busiest, outside of auditions and things like that, and training is I have been moderating congressional telephone town halls. So that's been keeping me pretty busy, as you can imagine, with the political landscape. And this is a national program. I'm been contracted to represent, and both sides of the aisle, of course. And like I said, it is the thing that has kept me the busiest so far this year, which is it's been pretty exciting. I've learned a lot. I've never been, one to lean into politics very much, and so this is new ground. I've been doing it for a little over a year now. I've learned a lot. It's been eye opening, very much entertaining and frightening at the same time.
Yeah, there's it just pretty much speaks for itself. Like, yeah, because especially when you're doing like Congress stuff, it's ooh,
Yeah, I've learned a lot. It's like I said. I mean, it's been very interesting. Things that I really hadn't dialed into personally, I've begun to dial into. So yeah, it's really been. I wasn't kidding when I said it's an eye opener.
yeah, it was yeah, because when you really learn about a lot of this stuff that is happening, it's like, oh wow, that yeah, there's definitely a lot more to it than we thought. So and
Exactly.
and this is why I try not to like I just recently I decided, you know what, I think I'm just gonna nuke just Twitter, whatever it is now. And I also got rid of TikTok because I kind of don't really want my feed to just be plugged with like I mean it's good to be informed, but at the end of the day it's like you don't really need to be on the news 24/7. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I totally can understand that. I mean, there are definitely days that I'm like, okay, I've had enough. My brain is full.
Exactly. But besides that, you moved, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I've moved twice in under 2 years, both times within Florida. So I'm finally settled. I'm where I want to be. I'm much closer to my family here now I'm in right outside of West Palm, a little south of West Palm, which puts me much closer to my family. So it's been a busy couple of years. It's been a stressful couple of years, and of course, every time you move, all of our equipment has to be packaged up, and then you set up your studio again someplace else, and there's always a little snafu in there, so it takes you a couple of weeks to really pull it all together again and make sure that your sound is of high quality, and that you can get right back to work as quickly as possible. So yeah, this has been kind of a wild ride for the last couple of years moving, but I'm finally settled, thank goodness. Thank you for
Yeah,
asking. Thanks.
yeah. And I also have to ask too, because I usually like it's kind of like an unintentional start in every episode I do, but how's the weather over there right now?
It's very warm, but it is Florida, and I am someone who really appreciates the sunshine, so I'm not complaining. I grew up in New England, and they're having kind of a yucky spring, and so I never complain about the heat.
Yeah, so I can imagine it's probably like 80s, 90s, something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely 90s. It's become summertime in Florida, so here we are.
Yeah, boy, and we're just now almost about to hit the 4th of July. And now it's kind of when, because usually on my end with California, it could just sometimes go through like periods of just, oh,
Sure.
we're getting like a heat spike, and then it just kind of goes down. But I think we're kind of finally starting to get to I guess the average weather where it's just going to be 80s, 90s, 100s for
Yeah,
like up
exactly.
until October, I think.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but it is what it is. When we live in these places, we can expect this weather, so it's not unexpected. And and we definitely, hurricane season has started here, so we've already
Oh
seen,
no,
we've
yeah.
we've already started. We've seen back-to-back hailstorms just a couple of weeks ago, and the rains come in the afternoon and it pours cats and dogs, and then it clears up, and then it's just sticky. Yes.
Oh man. But yeah, I think since we kind of got the icebreaker portion out of the way, I guess yeah, let's just get to the questions here, which is not really a whole lot, but still, I think it should be pretty interesting.
Yeah,
So,
go
what
right
would you
ahead.
say? Yeah, because I know you've been working a lot this year. So, what would you say were some of the, I guess, milestones or just achievements? Because aside from the Congress stuff, like, what would you say were the projects that were the most exciting, as well as just some of the most, I guess, creatively fulfilling or just challenging in a way from your perspective?
Honestly, I think the auditions have been the most challenging. Um, and it's not because they themselves have been a challenge. I think it's the competition is pretty fierce, as you know. And as I, I don't want, you know what, I don't want to discourage anybody who might be listening, but um, it there hasn't been. I mean, I've been shortlisted for a number of projects. I've been considered, which is like this, I guess, the step up from being shortlisted. And then not to win the gig can be a little. That's a challenge, and the challenge really your frame of mind very positive, and just learning from the experience. But like I said, the congressional calls really have been the thing that has kept me the most busy. And sometimes these things come out of nowhere. I'll get a text message, from the people who contract me. Hey, are you available this evening? Because there's something happening on the Hill that, when a congressman wants to get in front of their constituents. And that can be a little bit of a challenge because that means I'm jockeying my schedule a little bit. But it's that has been the thing that has kept me the busiest. And I'm under NDA, so I can't share some of the conversations I've had with some folks that are in those political circles. But if you're getting a call on a Sunday night to moderate a call, and there's 800,000 people on a call or 130,000 people on a call, that's a big deal.
Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty big, really big task and a huge responsibility.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a thrill, to be honest. But the other part of it is, my job is to moderate. So I am not interacting with callers other than to invite them onto the call and to ask their question of the Congress member. I think, and this is a little funny. There are things that come up that I'm grateful that I'm not on Zoom. So people aren't seeing my reaction, my facial expressions, and of course, you know, there are things that I've heard that simply, it's shock and awe. So I don't know if that's a challenge, but I definitely it has been an experience where I'm grateful that I'm not on camera, and I'm grateful that I am muted during when the Congress member addresses a particular question or comment.
Yeah, absolutely. But what would you say is something that you love or cherish so much after being in the voiceover business for a couple years?
I think having left corporate America, I think the thing that I love and that I really appreciate is my time, that my time is mine, so that I can schedule, I can, go and watch my granddaughter, swim or dance or go to gymnastics, go to a little gymnastics program that she's having. My time is mine. And, that's, I'm really grateful that I have that flexibility in my schedule to live my life and work. Yeah. So there truly is a work-life balance for me now that there wasn't when I was working corporate.
Yeah. And what would you say is something that's been really keeping you positive throughout this year?
Me. uh Seriously. And maybe that sounds funny to your listeners, but I do a lot of, I work with a couple of coaches. I have a mentor. I do a lot of personal development work, and that keeps me really, it keeps me grounded, it keeps me focused, it helps me feel supported and positive. Yeah, I think it's really, what I'm doing for myself. That's what really keeps me positive.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people that you want to give a shout out to that have really helped you along the journey with voiceover and just life in general, if you want to say who
Sure.
really helped you along the way.
Sure. Yeah. So I have scores of people, but the people that really have that continue to support me, not just, in my personal journey, but in my VO business. And they follow me on LinkedIn, they comment, they share. Sandy Thomas, he did my demo, he's a beautiful person. He's always quick to comment on a post. Danielle Margraf, she is my somatic coach. And she's also very supportive. My VO family, the core, Corey Rhymes, um, and everybody in the VO family, Brad Storm, and you know them, these folks. They're just, what we do is hard, and not that it's hard work necessarily, but it's hard to move the needle, because because it is a very competitive industry, but it's also a very supportive industry. So the circles that I travel in, we support each other, and I'm grateful for that support. Like like seriously, almost every day of the week, there's something happening on social media, and I follow all of these people, of course. And there's there everybody has their highs and lows, and we support each other through it all. So it's really special, and it really touches me.
Yeah. And what is something that also helps you just stay on top of I guess, with the VO market or just the current industry? Just what helped you stay afloat in the midst of these interesting, kind of weird times, like when the industry is just continues to change like all the time.
I don't know how to answer that. Ask me again. Only because I'm not sure which way I want to go with this.
Yeah, like what helps you stay like because I know with the so much stuff that is going on, especially in the case of social media, so what helps you stay on top of it all?
Again, that's discipline. I have, and I'm very active on social media, because that's where that's where I find my people. I am um, I am uh, a networker. I believe in networking, and I also believe in telling my own story and being very authentic on social media. So that's something that it's very intentional. I think the thing that I'm discovering is that the concerns about AI, and not that I'm all that concerned. I mean, I don't think that AI is going to take my job and that we're all going to be, you know, robot, I don't subscribe to that thinking. And it's because the most of the work that I do, um, it there's no room. I mean, I don't want to mislead anybody. I think there's absolutely um, there's a great call or need for AI in some respects. I particularly think that, in the sciences, in the medical field, and, streamlining processes in the software development. I mean, I definitely think that there's room for AI. I think AI is brilliant, and it removes human error, particularly in an operating room, for example, when it's perfected. But I think it's when you're trying to touch people, when you're trying to reach people, when you know, AI, what AI doesn't do is think for itself. AI doesn't feel. AI doesn't take you to lunch. So the people that I work with, they don't want a mechanical voice. They want my voice. Can you imagine moderating a congressional telephone town hall with a robot? With an artificial. It just doesn't happen. um in the auditions that I do, I'm really encouraged by the amount of auditions. I did 6 yesterday. Not one of those companies, and they're big companies, not one of those companies is looking for an AI voice. So, and I know there's a lot of AI companies that are approaching voice over people, voice over talent, to work with them to perfect AI, and people are doing that, and yeah, and I don't blame them. I mean, they're being paid very well to teach to teach AI voice, but everything that I see is in my world, in the auditions that I'm doing. These are big companies that are leaning into human voices. I think that they understand that. I mean, I know how I feel when I get when I'm on a phone, when I'm trying to reach somebody. Like, for example, I'm just tossing it out there, and I'm going to say Florida Power and Light. If I'm calling because there's an outage in my area, and I get a robot. Well, and I don't want to call it a robot, but I know when I'm hearing AI, and and part of me wants to laugh, and the other part of me, it just kind of grinds my gears, because I'm thinking, you don't need to do that. But it is a cost savings, in for some companies, and as particularly in IVR work, there's a lot of IVR, voice talent out there that are being replaced, because for some people, it's okay, it's good enough, and I'm not in a place where good enough is good enough for me. So.
Oh yeah, that is absolutely me. Like being good isn't good enough. Wow. Okay. Yeah, boy. I guess we're just starting to have higher standards of just everything now.
I know I do.
Yeah.
I definitely think we're capable of raising the bar, and we should.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate that like right now with like economically and politically, it's like, yeah, instead of doing that, it's like there's a lot of division and so much disagreements that are going about, and it's not really the time to just be so divided against one another. Wouldn't it be great if we we were able to solve problems without the need of like fighting or using violence or just any of these other methods, and just
Absolutely.
keep dividing each other more and more and more, not just with real life but like in voiceover in general? Like, yeah, yeah, because you go on social media and there can be like a lot of, you know, posts that are just engaging and like a lot of mostly negative stuff, when it's like, look, just use that to feel just your passion, and if you're feeling angry, use it to channel it into something that's like productive, like the gym, exercising, or just scream into a microphone if you have to. Just anything. Like, trust me, it really does help. It's a lot more helpful than you think it is. So, I mean, I know it doesn't work for everybody, but hey, it can be therapeutic. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't engage. I mean, I've definitely unfollowed a handful of people. I just don't engage. There's I'm far too I'm trying to protect and preserve my peace, and that just doesn't work for me. I don't want anyone polluting my peace. So, I'm really concentrating on being as positive, and as peaceful as possible. So, and I do find in this industry that there's very little of that. There's very little negativity. I mean, everybody's working really hard. Everybody's very supportive. Everybody wants to help one another. We're lifting each other up. Voice is one of those things that no two of us have the same voice. So there's room for everybody. It's just one of those things that it's such a departure from what I found to be true in the corporate world, where it was a little more tense and far less supportive, so far less peaceful.
Yeah, but I kind of want to go back to Corey and Brad and all those guys over at the VO Academy. So just being a part of that group,
Yeah.
how much would you say that it also really helped you grow and learn a lot, learn the ropes of voiceover in a way, with just being with all these guys?
Yeah, guys and gals.
Guys and gals, yeah. Oh yeah, there's
Yeah,
Melanie,
yeah.
Ralph, and I'm just listing
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, yeah. There's a ton. Rachel. Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of
Yes.
us. Yeah. I mean, it's that's the whole point of it, right? That's the whole point of working together. Going through scripts and learning from each other. Having a safe place to practice. And not just the voice stuff, but some of the mechanics, some of the technology that we use, people that we know. I mean, Corey has invites incredible guests to come and share their experiences, and they have there's this depth and breadth about the industry that they share with us. That's been huge. When we talk about everything from email campaigns to direct marketing to live auditions and everything that we bump into along the way as we learn, representation and pay to plays. I mean, we talk about everything. We really lift every stone, and everybody comes to the table with different experiences, and that's how we learn best. That's how I learn best.
Yeah,
We've got
and
some people that specialize in video, and other people that specialize in sound. I don't have the ear that like Brad has. Brad has an incredible ear that I just don't have. So he'll hear something in a recording that I've done that I didn't hear, and he can bring that to my attention. And I've also worked closely with him to do video work. Corey's the same way. Richard again. These people, we all have a different skill set, and but we all come to the table willing to share our experiences and our skills and to help each other. And I just think that that's an incredible, and it has developed into deep friendships. I've had people reach out to me about something that is not VO related, so that's when that these are friends.
that's what's super important. It's just the friendships that you make and the number of people that you encounter. Like you just never know who you're gonna meet, run into
You
in the
don't.
industry that ends up becoming. It just really depends. Sometimes it could just be like, oh, I just met them in a class or workout, and then they're some of my closest friends. Or you could just see somebody like in person, and you might end up working with them on a you both end up voicing in a an assignment that's gonna be like very long term or short. Like it really does depend on who you end up running into because it's very serendipitous in a way where you meet a lot of these folks and you just never know if they're going to be like if it's going to be a life-changing experience or it just they're going to be some of your biggest supporters and cheerleaders
Yeah, very true.
in the field.
It's
Yeah.
very true. Yeah. I try very hard not to cast judgment because, that's something that I've experienced. You know, you just, like you just said, you just never know. And that's true of not just in a class, but out on the street, in a restaurant, you can, in a doctor's office, you could be anywhere. And there's somebody special sitting next to you, and you don't even realize that until you share an experience with them, and you learn about people. You have to be more open-minded and more accepting and tolerant. So,
Exactly. And as I was saying before, it is very much, it's like because I know how cutthroat and competitive this industry can be, but a lot of the times, a lot of the people that we end up running into are just kind of like, it could just be kind of on a whim, or it could just be spontaneous, because this is pretty much how life is, where something can happen and it could just open a door or it can close a door. It's it's not a guarantee, but hey, find something that sticks or what doesn't. That's kind of what makes it a lot of fun. It's like that's kind of the same with voiceover. It's like, sometimes you can find something that really sticks with you, and sometimes you can find something that doesn't. That's okay.
yeah,
It's each of
definitely.
us are completely different.
Very true. Very true. My dog is coming in to say hello. So
Uh, yes, we have we gotta we gotta
he's
get
like,
our
hey, I
special
don't like it
guest.
when this door is closed. He does not like it when he doesn't see the recording is on. It's fine.
Yeah, we all love special guests. We all love our
Right.
pets. Yeah.
I hear his little head bumping in the door. So, um, yes, and I have not found the industry to be cutthroat at all. I know some DJs, and they've been, very kind, and they have referred me to gigs. If something doesn't work for me, and I know it's not meant for me, I'm quick to send that client to someone else that may be more able to deliver, the kind of read that the client's looking for. I mean, my voice is not perfect for everything out there, and that is true of other voice talent, and that's why I've had people say, do you know a Spanish speaker? Do you know somebody who speaks you know uh, a Mandarin? I do. I have those people in my toolbox, and I can just, I can say, oh, I can send you to this person and this person. I'm not a guy. If someone needs a guy voice, I've got a dozen guys. If somebody needs someone who does jingles, I don't do jingles, but I know people that do. Audiobooks are something. It's not my sweet spot. I've done them, but if it's a technical read, I'll pass that along, because that's not something that interests me particularly. I really kind of work in the commercial space. I love it. Or the e-learning space, and I do live events. So, there's something for everyone, and I just haven't found anyone in this industry that has been, hateful or cutthroat. I find quite the opposite, to be honest. So, and it's a thrill to be able to say that, because that has not been my experience like I said, in my 30 years in corporate. That was not my experience at all.
Yeah, and it's really a good thing too, because when I mean cutthroat, it's like, oh, well, it's you could sometimes go through a long period of time with no work, and yeah, just a lot of. I mean, it's not really as often when it comes to drama as you say with, like, I don't know, on camera or just stage or stuff like that. But like with voiceover, there's like very, very, very little of it. So I just wanted to clarify that right now. It's like
Yeah.
for the cutthroaty stuff. I mean, honestly, I mean, yes, it can be really tough sometimes when you're in a dry spell, but I personally, I can't really say that I've ever really been, thankfully though, I haven't, because whenever I'm in a dry spell, it doesn't really last super long. And the thing that really helps is that being a creator, or just writing, or just taking on like side jobs outside of VO, it's
Mhm.
something that just really fills my heart creatively. Just something that is like a God-given talent to me. It's like something that I would pursue. Like if it's not working out, then finding something that is able to sustain you for a while, and when you eventually get back to it, it
Mhm.
just really helps you a lot. It just really keeps your mind and just your soul just in check. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's definitely,
Think maybe
I
about.
agree. It is very competitive, because there isn't enough work to go around. There really isn't. And you do find that sometimes, the same people get the jobs because the company that they're working with is very happy with their work, and they know what they're getting, and they're on the roster, and that person just works, and it can feel like there's not room for a newcomer, for example. But on the other hand, I mean, look what I literally fell into, because someone was kind enough to say, yeah, I know someone. They didn't have a female on the roster, and this person reached out and said, there's a great opportunity. Are you interested? And of course, I'm not, because I'm always interested in a great opportunity. um, and now it was a year in February that I started doing this, and I'm still doing it, and I'm thrilled to do it. It's an honor. I feel like, it's a privilege, it's an honor, it's a thrill, it's a learning experience, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. If it were to end tomorrow, I'd say, oh my God, this was one of the best gigs I've ever had. I really love the work.
Gratitude,
Yeah.
gratitude, gratitude all
Mhm.
the way.
Yeah, and I love that some of these members of Congress ask for me by name now. So they're like, we want Robyn, and and they have, they've got lists of people to choose from, and so that says, I'm doing something right. So that's what that says. That I make them feel comfortable, and that it's a very positive experience. And yeah, I've really built a really nice rapport with a number of members of Congress, and again, both sides of the aisle, men and women. It's just I just feel very blessed.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for VO Academy, I don't think we wouldn't have, crossed paths. So gotta thank Corey and everybody
Yeah,
there for
yeah,
the.
and yeah. I mean, Domingo Castillo is another. He was one of my first coaches, and that's how I met Brad. And I mean, it's just been, and it's an incestuous world that we walk in, right?
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, there you are on the West Coast. Here I am on the East Coast. We couldn't be further apart. Yet here we're having this conversation together about
Oh yeah.
something that we're truly passionate about, that we love to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say real quick, congrats on being a member of the NAVA, National Association of Voice Actors. Why am I tripping up? But yeah, congrats on being a NAVA member.
Because you're live on a mic. That's why.
Yeah, TLDR, just congrats real quick. And just a shout out to Tim and Karen, and just Z. So many people that I'm probably leaving out, but yeah, just wanted to toss that
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, they're very supportive. Yep.
Yeah, so I know there's probably going to be a follow-up episode I can do with Nava, but for now, I just want to thank you so much, Robin, for your time. And for my last bit of advice, go out there and be the light of the world, and just the world needs a lot less darkness, and we need a lot more light and
Yes.
just more love, especially
Yes.
right now.
Just let the sunshine in, right? Thank you so
Yeah,
much
let
for
the
having
sunshine
me. I
in.
so appreciate it. I loved the opportunity to chat with you. So have an amazing rest of day.
Yeah, and where can people check out your
Oh,
man, why am I talking
yeah.
ghetto?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Robyn Newton. And you can also find me on my website. It's robinsays.com, and that's Robyn with a Y. And you can also find me on Instagram at Robyn Newton VO. So yeah, please find me, check me out, connect. I'd love to chat.
Yeah, right on. And I'll also provide my socials in the description whenever this goes up. But thank you so much for watching. God bless you all, and have a lovely rest of your days coming up ahead. Bye bye. Stay awesome.